This message is for everybody that's in between. I mean, everybody that's feel like they're stuck between a rock and a hard place. Everybody that is not yet where they ought to be, but not where they used to be. I mean, have you ever found yourself stuck right in the middle? Right in the middle of not knowing and knowing where to go? What do you do when you see visions of the establishment of the vision, but you can't see how to start the establishment of the vision? Some of that may not make sense to some people, but somebody out there knows exactly what I'm talking about. I mean, what do you do when you can see the vision in its full entirety happening and functioning, yet you can't see how to start it, and you can't see how to begin to make it happen? What do you do when you reach out to everybody and it seems like nobody's responding? Nobody wants to lend a helping hand. What do you do when you find yourself in tough times? I want to let you know that you're not alone. You know, oftentimes whenever I get ready to record, it's my own personal life. I'm going through the exact thing that I'm talking about, or I'm experiencing some of the same hurts or the same pains or the same victories and the same successes that I talk about. And so I want you out there to know that you're not alone. You're not the only one that feels stuck. You're not the only one that feels like you don't know where to go, how to go, and when to go. You know, what happens when you know you can't stay where you are, but you're not comfortable with where you've come out to? You know, you're no longer back there, but you can't see how to get over there. You know, so you're in the middle. You know, one thing I love is eagles. I love eagles. They're one of my favorite birds. And so what the mother eagle will do, she will put little sticky pieces of glass and pointy sticks in her nest when the eaglets have gotten too big for the nest. You know, in other words, when it's time for the baby eagles to begin to fly, and sometimes those eagles can get comfortable in the nest, what the bird will do, what the mother eagle will do, is get sharp objects and begin to place it in the nest so that the nest is no longer comfortable. And so now it forces the eaglets out of the nest. It forces them out of their comfort zone. So some of us are out of our comfort zone. I don't know who I'm talking to. Who are you? Are you out of your comfort zone? Do you feel like the place that once brought you comfort is now bringing you pain? And now you find yourself falling through the wind, falling through the air, falling through the storms of life? Do you not know how to fly yet? You're frantically trying to begin to fly. You're frantically trying to do what you feel like you've been called to do, and for some reason it's not happening. What do you do when you feel like you're losing hope? When you feel like you don't want to do it no more? When you don't want to cause it to happen? When you don't want to encourage anybody anymore? When you don't want to talk about the dream no more? When you don't want to see the vision no more? When you want to just give up? How do you act? How do you react? How do you go through life when everything around you seems to have no meaning because you're not doing what you feel like you've been called to do, what you've been purposed to do? What do you do? How do you continue to wake up day in and day out and not fulfill what you feel like you've been created to do? How do you live? How do you keep a sane mind? How do you not go insane and lose it all, or quit, or give in, or give up? What is it that makes your heart keep ticking? You know, it's like the old school stoves that had the pilot light under the bottom. Oftentimes, if you look under the very bottom, there's a round deal that allows fire to, you know, go around the whole deal. And when you put your, you know, stove on boil, all of it'll be lit. It'll all be ignited. It's all on fire and it's all heating up the stove. And as you begin to turn the dial down, you know, the fire begins to lessen and lessen. So how do you operate when it feels like the dial of your life is turned all the way down? One thing I noticed about that stove is, even though sometimes I will look under there and not see any fire, there'll be a small pilot, a small pilot light that's lit. And it's that pilot that's lit that will ignite the entire ring where the fire would be. And so my response to whatever you're going through is, when you feel like giving up, when you feel like giving in, you got to trust in the one that's giving you the vision in the first place. Trust in God, even when you can't trace him, even when he seems silent. And I know how difficult it is to begin to or continue to trust God when he's silent, when you're fasting, when you're praying, when you're believing God and he's saying nothing. What do? You keep believing in the God that's giving you the vision. He didn't give it to people. He didn't give it to outside influences. He's put it in you. And only you can do what God has called you to do. Only you can make it happen. Only you can do it like you can. Nobody else will be able to do it. There may be 1,000 churches out there, but nobody will be able to pastor like you. There may be 1,000 singers out there, but nobody can sing quite like you. You know, there may be 100 teachers out there, but no one can teach exactly the way you can. Or there may be hundreds of gyms and trainers that you can go to, but you have something so unique that the world needs it. People are waiting for the gifts that God has given you. And so you can't afford to give up. You can't afford to give in. Not now. Not now. Even though it seems tough. Even though it seems like you're alone, even though you're on the verge of quitting and you ain't really told nobody because you look all good. Everything looks great on the inside. You're feeling so down. You're feeling so out when you get all alone and nobody else is around. Only you know the pain of not being where God has called you to be, or not knowing how to get there. And I'm not saying that your life, I'm not talking to people that feel like they're out of relationship with God. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking to believers who know that they're in right standing with God and still feel so far apart, still feel so empty, still feel so confused or so like just not knowing what to do. You keep trusting God. Don't worry about the super spiritual people that says, oh, God is not the author of confusion. But what does he do? God is in control. He does it the way he wants to. It's not based on anybody else's assumptions, anybody else's spiritual radar. All of that is not concerning you. It doesn't matter what other people think or say. It only matters what God has destined for your life. And everything is going to work out for his good. So you be encouraged. I'm with you. I'm right in that same spot. We're going to get through this thing. And guess what? I'm going to see you at the top. This is Elgin Stevens. I'm praying with you and for you. Peace.